In this session, we are going to see the introduction and historical background of charges. So let us compare gravitational force and electrostatic force. When you throw a ball upwards, it will reach ground or it will fall down to the ground because of the gravitational force. Similarly, moon revolves around the earth because of the gravitational force between them. All objects having mass exerts gravitational force. In the same way, there is electrostatic force between two charges. The hydrogen atom consists of a proton and an electron. Since both have masses, there is gravitational force between them, and also both are charges, so there is also electrostatic force between them. Which force is greater? Electrostatic force or gravitational force? Now let us discuss this. Gravitational force is based on mass. Electrostatic force is based on charge. Gravitational force is always positive and attractive, whereas electrostatic force is attractive or repulsive. Both forces are inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. The gravitational force is given by universal law of gravitation, that is Fg is equal to G multiplied by Me mp upon r square, where G is a gravitational constant. Electrostatic force is given by Coulomb's law, that is Fe is equal to K multiplied by Q1 Q2 upon r square, where K is a Coulomb's constant. Now let us calculate the gravitational force between the proton and electron. The gravitational force Fg is equal to G multiplied by Me mp upon r square. Me and mp are nothing but mass of the electron and mass of the proton, and r is the distance between them. G is the gravitational constant. So let us substitute these values of G, Me, mp and r. We will get Fg is equal to 3.4 into 10 to the power of minus 47 Newton. Now we will see electrostatic force. In the same way, let us calculate the electrostatic force between the proton and the electron. Fe is equal to K multiplied by Q1 Q2 upon r square. Substituting the values of K, Q1, Q2 and R, we will get Fe is equal to 8.2 into 10 to the power of minus 8 Newton. The ratio between these two forces, that is Fe and Fg, 8.2 divided by 3.4, which is equal to 2.4 into 10 to the power of 39. Therefore, Fe is approximately equal to 10 to the power of 39 times of Fg, which is gravitational force. Electrostatic force between the proton and an electron is enormously greater than gravitational force between them. That is, gravitational force is negligible when compared with electrostatic force in atomic domain. Plastic comb is electrically neutral when it is rubbed on dry hair. Some electrons are transferred from hair to comb due to friction. When we bring negatively charged comb near to the paper bits, positively charged end of the paper bits get attracted towards the comb. Here, the mass of the paper bit is very much larger than atomic dimension. So here, gravitational force cannot be neglected as it acts in the downward direction. When the electrostatic force is higher than the gravitational force, the bits of paper moves up towards the comb. Since electrostatic force is higher than the gravitational force, the bits of paper starts to move up towards the comb. So far we have seen the introduction. Now we will learn about historical background of charges. Before we get into the chapter, now let us see what is electrostatics. Before we see what is electrostatics, now we are dealing with the charged bodies in this chapter. There are different ways in which an object can be charged. I can charge a particle by friction, or I can even charge a particle by conduction or even by induction. But in this chapter, we will see how an object is charged by friction. So what is electrostatics? Electrostatics is a branch of physics that studies electrical charges which are at rest position. When there is no movement in the charge is said to be in rest position. When there is no movement in the charge is said to be in rest position. And study of this type of stationary charges and its properties is called electrostatics. Benjamin Franklin discovered that there are two types of charges, positive charge and negative charge. So now we will see how did they conclude positive charge and negative charge based on observation. So the charges of the same kind repel each other, but of the opposite kind attract each other. Here in the screen you can see a positive charge and the negative charge. So both are unlike charges. They are not like charges, they are unlike charges because they are different. They are not same. So unlike charges always attract each other. But whereas the like charges, they always repel each other. So 2 millennium years ago, when amber is rubbed with animal fur, it attracted small pieces of leaves and dust. Actually, the amber attracted small pieces of leaves and dust. Since amber possessed this property of attraction, they said it to be charged. And it was initially thought amber has a special property. But later people found that not only amber but even a glass rod is rubbed with silk cloth. But even when a glass rod is rubbed with a silk cloth, the glass rod attracted pieces of paper. So glass rod also becomes charged when rubbed with a suitable material. Now let us discuss in detail how an object acquires positive charge and how an object acquires negative charge. We know that number of electron in an atom is equal to the number of proton. That is why it is said to be electrically neutral. But when this electrical object is rubbed with any surface, sometimes it may lose electron or sometimes it may gain electron. So how an object acquires positive charge? When an object loses electron, it is said to be positively charged. Hence, there is no charges like positive charge and negative charge. It is just the Benjamin Franklin, the scientist, who named the two type of charges as positive and negative charge based on gaining and losing the electrons. In nature, there is no positive and negative charge. It is a Benjamin Franklin who named the two charges as positive and negative charges based on losing and gaining the electrons. So now let us see this in detail. When an object gains electron, it is said to be negatively charged. And when an object loses electron, it is said to be positively charged. When an object loses electron, it is said to be positively charged. When an object gains electron, it is said to be negatively charged. And now let us see the example. When a glass rod is rubbed with a silk cloth, the glass rod becomes positively charged and the silk cloth gains equal amount of negative charge. How much amount of positive magnitude the rod gains, that much amount of negative magnitude the silk cloth also gains. If the rod has 4 positive charges, then the silk cloth also acquires 4 negative charges because the electrons, the silk cloth is acquiring the negative charge from the rod. The positive magnitude of the rod gains that much negative magnitude the silk cloth also gains. So let us understand this even more deeper. When a glass rod is rubbed with a silk cloth, the glass rod loses electron and those electrons are gained by the silk cloth. Since it is losing the electron, the glass rod is said to be positively charged. Since silk cloth is gaining the electron, it is said to be negatively charged. Now we will see the unlike charges attract and like charges repel. Consider a charged rubber rod hanging from a thread. Suppose another charged rubber rod is brought near the second rubber rod. The rod repel each other. Now if we bring a charged glass rod close to the charged rubber rod, they attract each other. At the same time, if a charged glass rod is brought near another charged glass rod, both the rods repel each other. From these observations, the following inferences are made. The charging of a rubber rod and that of a glass rod are different from one another, because the material of the rubber rod and the material of the glass rod are different. The charged rubber rod repels with another charged rubber rod, which implies that like charges repel each other. Likewise, a charged glass rod also repels with another charged glass rod because both materials are made up of same type. Now see the third one. The charged amber rod attracts the charged glass rod. Now here amber rod is attracting the glass rod because both materials are made up of different types of materials. Both are made up of different types of materials. The charged amber rod attracts charged glass rod, implying that the charge in the glass rod is not the same kind of charge present in the rubber rod. Thus, unlike charges attract each other. Now let us see what is triboelectric effect. Charging of the objects through rubbing is called triboelectric effect. So in this chapter we will see how an object is charged through friction. That is what here they call it as triboelectric effect. Charging of the objects through rubbing is called triboelectric effect. When we rub our hands, when we rub the palms of a hand, the friction is produced. When we drive a car or vehicle, when we suddenly put a brake, when we suddenly apply the brake to the vehicle, a friction is applied between the wheels and the road. When we move something on the floor, it may be table, it may be chair, friction always opposes the motion of the object. Now we'll see what are all the basic properties of charges. The first one is electric charges, conservation of charges, and then quantization of charges. So what is electric charge? Objects in the universe are made up of atoms, and these atoms are made up of protons, neutrons and electrons. And these particles have mass, which is an essential property of particle. Inherent is nothing but essential property of the particle. Similarly, this particle also has electric charge. That is also a natural, essential, fundamental property of particle. So the SI unit of charge is coulomb. The SI unit of charge is coulomb. So most of the objects in the universe are made up of atoms, and these atoms in turn are made up of protons, neutrons and electrons. And these particles have mass and they also have electric charge, which is a property of the particles, and the SI unit of such charges is coulomb. And there is another property of electric charge which is not given in your book, that is additivity of charges. When I add charges, different charges like Q1, Q2, Q3, it constitutes the total charge of the system. If I have charges like plus 2, plus 6 and then plus 2, it is 6 plus 2, 8 and 8 plus 2, 10. Totally, the total charge of the system is 10. Likewise, additivity of the charges is also a property of electric charge. Now let us see the second property of charge, which is conservation of charges. Conservation of charges. Benjamin Franklin concluded that charges can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can transfer from one object to the other object. So this is called as a conservation of total charges. And this is one of the fundamental conservation laws in physics. It says that you cannot create a charge or you cannot destroy a charge, but you can transfer a charge from one object to the another object. The total electric charge in the universe is constant, and charge can neither be created nor be destroyed. In any physical process, the net change in the charge will always be the zero. So, the charge throughout the universe, it remains constant. Quantization of charges. This is the third property. The charge q on any object is equal to an integral multiple of this fundamental unit of charge q. So this quantization of charges, we have the formula. Q is equal to NE. Here what is Q? Q is the charge. N is a integer. E is a fundamental unit of charge E. Q is a charge, N is an integer, and E is a fundamental unit of charge E. So this charge Q is always equal to the integral multiple of this fundamental unit of charge E. Whatever be the number, it can be 1, 2, 300, 400, whatever be the number. If we want to calculate the charge, we have to multiply that integer with the value of charge, which is nothing but 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb, which we have already seen. Let us understand this concept better. Let us take an example. When we count people, we only count them as a whole integer number. Like we count them as 200 people, 250 people, 3 people or 4 people. We never count, and we can't count them as 300.2 people, 12.2 people, because it is not possible. Likewise, charge can also be counted only with integral values, those whole number integer values. It cannot be calculated as 2.6 charges, 5.6 charges. It is not possible. To be even more precise, quantization is nothing but the quantity of charges. The name quantization itself explains the meaning that it's all about the quantity. Quantization is nothing but the quantity of charges, that is amount of charge, and this quantity is multiplied with E value. If I ask you to find the charge in a system, and if I give you the number, this much amount of charges or electrons are present there, what you will do? You will multiply the given value with the charge of the electron, that is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. Right? So, these are the charges which were found by Robert Millikan in his experiment. He found the charge of an electron to be 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. Since electron exhibits a negativity, then it is minus 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. Since a proton has a positive charge, then plus 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. So what is the value of fundamental unit of charge? 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. Now let us see an example. Let us solve this problem so that we can understand this problem even more better and this concept. Calculate the number of electrons in 1 coulomb of negative charge. So in order to calculate the number of electrons, first, according to the quantization of charge, I need to write the formula, which is Q is equal to NE. Since I want to find the number of electrons, I am changing the formula as N is equal to Q by E. So here what is the value of Q which is given in the question? Calculate the number of electrons in 1 coulomb of electric charge. So N is equal to Q by E. So what is the value? We are going to substitute the values of Q and value of E in the given formula. What is the value of Q? 1 coulomb. Divided by what is the value of E, as we have seen in the earlier slide? 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. So here we are going to substitute the value of E. We'll get the answer as 6.25 into 10 to the power of 18 electrons. So if I ask you to calculate the number of electrons in 5 coulomb of negative charge, what you will do? Instead of 1 coulomb, you are going to replace it by 5 coulomb, and you will find how many number of electrons is present in 5 coulomb of negative charge. This is all about the introduction and properties of electric charges. In the next class, we will see Coulomb's law and superposition principle. Thank you.